Hello everyone, it's been a minute. I have not reviewed a movie in quite some time on this channel. I apologize for the inconsistent upload schedule, though there are a few legitimate excuses. One, I got very sick over a week ago now, about a week and a half ago, and I was just unable to upload content. I just did not feel good. I was able to watch some movies, but I don't like uploading stuff unless I feel like I can put my best foot forward, and if I'm sick, I'm sick. There's not much I can do about it, but last weekend, I was living it up in Indianapolis. A certain football team that I root for won the Big Ten championship.
You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up.
And I'm still riding high from that, so I've not been able to upload many reviews. So what we're going to do today is a movie review extravaganza, to quote one of my favorite movie review channels, Double Toasted. It's an extravaganza where I'm going to give you a whole lot of reviews, shorter reviews for, I think, about 6 movies here. And starting this week, we're going to go back to a more consistent schedule. West Side Story, my most anticipated movie of 2021, is coming out this week. So I'll be reviewing that. But for the time being, I got about 6 movies, I think, to review. Let's jump right into it. Some of these I've talked about on Lights, Camera, Barstool. Some of them I have not. But the first one is Home Sweet Home Alone, the new Home Alone reboot that nobody really asked for. Now, as expected, this is a bad film. The characters are stupid and unlikable. It's poorly directed. The Home Alone part of this Home Alone movie really stinks. I mean, the traps themselves are elaborate to a point where you can't even buy into the world that they've created here. I don't enjoy it at all, but it will not make my bottom 10 list. And the main reason for that is because Rob Delaney and Ellie Kemper, mainly Rob Delaney, throughout the first part of the movie, were making me chuckle. Now, I'm not saying they were God's gift to comedy or anything, but I felt like they were kind of saving this thing. They elevate what is genuinely lousy material, and it's why I'm actually only going to give this a 4. I know a lot of people are going to rate it lower, and I understand that. It's just personally, I view it as inoffensive. A lot of other people won't, because a lot of other people have a real attachment to the original 2 Home Alone movies, and I understand it. I like them too, but I'm not like over enthusiastic with my love for them. I don't view them personally as classics. I acknowledge they are classics, just not for me. But even though I don't have the attachment to those original films, I understand why some people are angry. I just couldn't bring myself to be angry because I did admittedly get some chuckles out of Rob Delaney. I feel like I'm probably being very generous here, but I am giving it a 4. 8-Bit Christmas. This movie is almost beat for beat a remake of A Christmas Story, except you replace the Red Ryder BB gun with Nintendo, and that's your movie. And you know what? It's okay. It's actually all right. I think Neil Patrick Harris is very good in this. He mainly gives the voiceover narration, but he's speaking throughout this thing. The movie gave me a few chuckles. I feel like for the most part, the child actors are quite good, but its biggest detriment, and I said this on LCB, is that its member buries the movie. I'm a fan of nostalgia. You know, for instance, like, next year at this point, I will probably look back on this most recent weekend and be just filled to the brim with happiness and nostalgia. I am a fan of that, but at the same time, I'm so done with let's point and acknowledge movies. Hey, it's the Power Glove. Hey, it's Nintendo. Like, you have to do something with those particular things, and I feel like this movie doesn't really. I wish they would have done something more, but I found the direction to be relatively inspired. And I think its heart is very clearly in a good place. One other huge problem I had with Home Sweet Home Alone is how much it didn't feel like a Christmas movie. This very much does, and I'm going to give it a mild recommendation. I believe it's on HBO Max, 6 out of 10. House of Gucci. I was looking forward to this, but this one, it didn't really work for me. The costumes are fantastic. The set design is excellent. The cinematography is solid. Though, I don't know, as I said in the past, it's hard to screw up Italy, but the performances are also very believable. Lady Gaga is awesome. This is a tremendous performance on her part. Adam Driver, my favorite actor working, is very good in this as well. I would have liked to have seen him be given a little bit more to do. I feel like he's kind of underutilized. It's not some horrific disaster, but it suffers from the same problem that so many Ridley Scott movies have suffered from recently, which is that the narrative and the dialogue sequences are incredibly dull. Much like his previous film, The Last Duel, I found this movie to be very, very boring, and that's surprising because it does have, admittedly, an interesting story. No need for this. to be 2.5 hours. Ridley Scott needs to stop blaming millennials for not going to see his movies like he did with The Last Duel, and make some movies where he cuts down some of the footage, because this is another movie that feels like it's stuck in the mud. Very disappointing film, 5 out of 10. Belfast is the new Kenneth Branagh movie that has received critical acclaim about a young boy growing up in a tumultuous time in Ireland. This movie is quite good. On a technical level, it's great. I love the black and white, but I think the acting is kind of the centerpiece. All these performances are phenomenal. I would not be surprised to see Ciarán Hinds win Best Supporting Actor for this, and Judi Dench is great. Jamie Dornan is really, really wonderful in this, and I'm happy for him, because I never blamed him for those dumb 50 Shades of Grey movies. Like, I think that it seems like a genuinely charismatic guy, and he's phenomenal in this. Movie looks great. It's very sincerely made by Kenneth Branagh, but it's simple almost to a fault. It reminded me weirdly of last year's Best Picture winner Nomadland, where it's very, very well made and very good and very honest, but it's simple, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with simple, but when we're talking about a film that some people believe could end up winning Best Picture, I do feel like you need a little bit more complexity to it, but I still did really enjoy it. The characters are well fleshed out. It looks good. All the performances are excellent. It's a very difficult movie to dislike. I give it an 8 out of 10. The Power of the Dog. This is a Netflix movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons. Many also consider this one to be one of the frontrunners for Best Picture at the Oscars. The one word I would use to describe this movie is bizarre. It is a weird movie. It's even weirder than The Green Knight, and I did not think I was going to see a stranger film in 2021 than that, but this one definitely tops it. It features a really brilliant lead performance by Benedict Cumberbatch, who is just a malicious guy in this movie. He gives one of the best performances of his career. I was very on the fence about this movie when it ended, and as time has gone on, and especially since I've talked about it on Lights, Camera, Barstool, I've really come to appreciate it. It might be brilliant. I'm not quite there yet, but I definitely appreciate the attempt. It's clear, like, legitimate effort was put into the making of this thing, and as always, I mean, low bar, right? But I appreciate movies that do that. I brought up that it is, right now, I think, the Vegas favorite to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Very subject to change. I hope that doesn't happen, because this is a Netflix release, meaning that it's more accessible to people, which I think that is good. But I think mainstream audiences are not going to like this. Like I said, it's just bizarre. It's strange, and it has a lot of weird stuff in it. And I feel like if a movie like this wins Best Picture, people would kind of be out on the Oscars. I mean, many people are already. I think if there's ever a year where you should play it safe with the Best Picture winner, it would be this. I do like this movie, but I can't love it because it is so slow moving, and to a certain extent I understand that was intentional, but you could have cut a chunk out of this movie and it still would have been effective. There is one really great thing about it, though, and that's just its mood. Like, the overall feeling you get watching this movie, you just feel generally uneasy. And I would not call this movie a thriller, because, like I said, it is incredibly slow, even dull at points, but you feel uncomfortable watching it, and I guarantee you that's what the director was going for here. It's a good movie that I've liked more since I watched it the other day, and I could even see myself liking more over time. I do appreciate the hell out of it. I give it a 7 out of 10. Lastly, we have Spencer. This is a biopic about Princess Diana starring Kristen Stewart in the lead role, and I'll start there. You can lock it in. Kristen Stewart will win Best Actress at the Oscars this year. I'm very confident in that. She gives a magnificent performance as Princess Diana. It's genuinely heart-wrenching watching her on screen, because it's so apparent that Princess Diana, especially in the later years, was so broken as a person. And Stewart captures the emotional heartbreak that comes with feeling that kind of brokenness. She's just incredible in this. And now, keep in mind, I hate the royal family. Like, it's just one of my biggest pet peeves in life, is I just find them so boring. And like several years ago, people were like, "Oh, did you hear that Harry and Meghan are leaving the royal family? Who gives a shit? Why does anybody care? These are like two uninteresting people." Little tangent there. But It's actually one of the things I like about this movie, which is the fact that the film acknowledges, and Princess Diana herself acknowledged, that the traditions of the royal family, to use a British term, were poppycock. I mean, they're just so pompous and dull and boring, just a bunch of boring people. And Princess Diana seemed like the one who tried to, break that mold. And there was something, I came out of this movie feeling much more appreciation for her as a person than I did coming in. And while I do like this movie, and I do recommend it, and I think for nothing else, just see it for Kristen Stewart's performance. It has a so-so screenplay, and I think it really bogs it down because the movie looks good. It has one great performance and a lot of other pretty good performances, but the script itself is it's much like the royal family, it's just kind of there. It's just kind of bland. I felt like when you have an actress who's as good as Stewart is in this, it would have been a better idea to give her a script that kind of expands a little bit more on this person's story, and I think they would have benefited from it, and that you could have had something that was really great, but for the time being, you have something that's just good. There is also a weird portion of this movie, and I like I said, I'm not a fan of the royal family, so maybe this is a part of history, but there's this weird tangent about Princess Diana seeing ghosts that I thought was a little bit strange. People might think I'm joking there. I'm not. That's a subplot in the movie. So it's a good film. I can never really see myself watching it again, but for the things in it that are excellent, like Stewart's performance, I am going to give it a 7 out of 10. All right, so that'll do it for this series of reviews. I might do this again at some point if I stay really busy. We'll see. But yeah, that'll do it for this. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. While we're at it, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get those watch hours up. Thank you very much for being patient and watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Peace and happiness.